on the show and I say, hi, I'm home, and Jerry's first day was the same day as my first day, he has like 20 pages of lawyer speak, right? So I was like, hi, my name, he says, just leave me alone, I got a lot of scenes to remember. No, he didn't say that, but we were like laughing because I'm like, hello, my first day was great. But also what I liked is that when my character lost her baby, had a miscarriage, she had a appendectomy and a miscarriage at the same time. It's never been done in history before or after. So we made history in medical filling.
I think this was a hard one for me. Well, no, because I was actually...
So many men.
Well, I was talking yesterday to my son is 9 and my stepdaughter is 10, and I was telling Lily about this scene where I grabbed, oh my gosh, I'm having a chemo moment.
Yeah, we all
Lizzie, sorry, I'm whatever, fried my brain chemo. When I took Lizzie and I smashed her head into the birthday cake when I crashed her party,
Yes.
that was probably, I will never forget that. I mean, and I think to myself, there's been so many times in my life where I've wanted to do that. Never, but you just, and I'm like, okay, I had that moment, and it's gonna be there forever because I can watch it again. That one, and then the baby. And then Sandy going in to see to Remy and I and the baby, that was such a great scene because it was so complex and there were a lot of feelings that went into it, and I had to make sure that when I was playing it, I didn't want to upset fans or be offensive or you know, it was challenging, and out of all the scenes that I have done on the show, that moment of the reveal of the baby was definitely, actually it was my favorite, I would say. Oh, yeah, so that was, I mean, there's so many of them, excuse me. But.
Well, I have two. One is, when I first started the show, we were shooting the Josh and Reva wedding, and Sharita Bauer, who I had not met yet, was in the church, and she was sitting by herself. And I felt very lost and nervous because I just started the show. And she sees me, she says, come here, dear. So I kind of walk over there and I sit next to her. And she said, I want you to know that I always will be here for you. I know you're nervous, but as far as I'm concerned, you're my grandson in real life. And she put her arm around me and she goes, and I mean it. If you ever have a problem with anybody, you come to me and I'll take care of it for you. So from that moment on, I felt like I was home. Thank God in life.
Oh, God.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that. That is guiding light. I have a humorous just anecdote, which continues to live on. It was with the twins storyline, and I believe that there was a nightmare that Blake had, and I love Blake's nightmares and fantasies. They were so much fun to play. And I was giving birth to a baby and 2 babies with rough umpires with catcher's masks next to me, and I had a big a big scarlet A on my hospital gown, and it's just this fabulous image, and it actually is an image that it was given to me as a 8x10 photograph, and I have it framed, and I have this little lake house outside of Syracuse that we have friends come and visit all the time, and that is, for whatever reason, this picture that's framed in the middle of this wall. It's nothing to do with anybody. People are like, why do you have a scarlet A? And who are these people with their catcher's masks? And that was just the best, most magical moment. And I love that it lives on my wall in my lake house.
Running out of court. I'm a big Peter Simon fan. And I'm going to have him autograph this. But Peter Simon had a prickly side to him, still does. And he had a reputation where he would sometimes, let's say, complain about the writing and refer to it, this is not writing, this is typing. And one time in the dry room, it wasn't on tape, or else it would be living on YouTube forever. the real Dr. Ed, who was a pillar of our community, was reading to a bunch of children the Christmas story. From Matthew, I do believe. And during dry rehearsal, where everybody was here except the children, and we were doing this for the doctor, for the director. And Dr. Ed was beginning the story of Christmas as written in Matthew. And at one point, Peter Simon got up, threw down his script on the floor, the Old Testament, and said, "Who wrote this crap?" And he stole my heart from then on. Nobody could be as cynical as Peter Simon in a really... So I think attacking the Old Testament is the way to go.
That is awesome.
I guess my favorite moments, I would have to say, would be off-camera hijinks. I have a couple little vignettes. One always sticks with me about the diner. And I worked a lot with Frank Dicopoulos, as you know. I deserve your empathy for that. I'm kidding. I loved working with Frank. He was a big jokester, and he would do silly things to me. Like I'd go into the diner, especially when I first started on the show, and there would always be props on the set. And I remember there was a beautiful cake that was set out there, and he was like, "Wow, the lights are really warm here. Are these warm here? Jen, what do you think? How does it feel here as compared to here?" And so I completely stupidly fell for this. I was like, "I don't know, Frank." And I put my hand above the cake where he was like blank space cake. And of course he smashes my hand right into the cake. And I've got this handful of frosting and the prop guys are mad at me. But that's Frank. Another moment was Kevin Mambo. Remember Kevin Mambo? He one day ordered a Caesar salad, and the Caesar salad came with anchovies, large anchovies. And he proceeded to take all of those anchovies and put them on the lights in my dressing room. So when I walked into my dressing room, it smelled like fried fish, because there was indeed fried fish. I'll do another one, tiny one, which is, this is a moment of awe that I had on Guiding Light, which is, it was one day, early on when I had first started, there was some sort of fair in the town, and we were all dressed up in an old-time costume. I remember standing next to Justin Dees, and a big dramatic moment happened, and he got so upset that he took this big thing of money, I guess, that the town was collecting during the event, and it was a glass bowl. And in his fury, he threw this bowl to the ground, and it shattered. This, of course, hadn't happened in rehearsal. And I looked at him, and I was shocked and blown away by the power of his performance, frankly. And I was gobsmacked with awe, and I just thought, I'm gonna learn here. And learn I did from every person sitting up here, so.
Another prickly moment. There's too much awe associated with Charita. So this is a story that I heard is actually happened before I got on the show. But there was a child actor. I don't know exactly how old, but he was running around being sort of childlike, and people liked him or didn't like him, and the kid got fired. And then I guess they changed their mind, and they had a big cast meeting. They got everyone in, and trying to cheer everyone up, said, "Oh, and by the way, little Tommy is being brought back. He's alive." And Charita muttered, "In our hearts, he will always be dead."
Well, that just
screwed me over. Thanks, Mary. I think for me, it's more like the time frame of what we used to call the cat on a hot tin roof storyline, which was Josh in the wheelchair, Reva married to HB, Josh recovering in HB's house, the sexual tension between Josh and Reva, with him paralyzed from the waist down, and the night that she basically screwed him back to walking again. Remember Kim delivering the line, "You're gonna walk tonight, bud." And I was like, I guess, you know. But that also kind of, somewhere in all of that too, was that first wedding between Josh and Reva, and that was one of my favorite days of shooting. And as most of you know, I was quite close with Larry Gates, who played H.B. Lewis. He truly was a father figure to me, and he was a mentor to me, and I spent a lot of time with him in his last year up at his house in Connecticut before he passed. And we would laugh a lot about that wedding because there's a story some of you probably already know where he and Kim were square dancing together, and Larry had, you know, bladder issues. You know, Kim was pregnant and had bladder issues, and both of them sort of stumbled, and I was like 2 feet away from them, and they started laughing so hard that both of them peed their pants simultaneously. Kim would happily tell you the story if she was here. I'm not saying anything out of school here, but and nobody knew about Kim because she's wearing this big honking wedding dress, and so nothing really showed, but Larry had to go and get his wardrobe cleaned up and changed and everything, and it was one of the funniest things that I think ever happened, that I just witnessed happen on that show. And I miss Larry terribly. I miss Chris. I miss Zaslow. I miss Charita. Charita and I had a moment of Josh also during that paralyzed storyline where we were recovering together, and she had them right into the show, her cancer storyline and the amputation of her leg, and they played it simultaneous, and not quite simultaneous, obviously, but and Charita, I just felt like I was in the presence of greatness. And you're right. I mean, we all talk up Charita a lot, but it's all real and true about her. She was unlike, I think, anyone I've ever known. And she was like a grandmother to all of us, and just so skilled, so good at what she did.